Hey everyone, my name is Wedge and Commander 2017 previews have entered the last day of individual goodness. Today we get to see everything wizards. I feel like I've been waiting for this moment my entire life. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and if you do, remember to hit that like button, it helps out a lot. Heirloom Blade is 3 mana for an artifact equipment with an equip cost of 1. Equipped creature gets +3/+1. Whenever equipped creature dies, you may reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card that shares a creature type with it. Put that card into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Okay, this is an exceptionally powerful piece of equipment, especially when you can generate tokens of the creature type you want to find. Anything from Eldrazi to elves to goblins to, well, anything. Heirloom Blade helps to replace lost souls with new ones, and with such a cheap equip cost and giant power boost, you can imagine you'll be cycling through triggers pretty quickly. Get this into the same deck as Cryptic Gateway? Hot dog, that's called an engine right there. Kindred Boon is 2 of anything and 2 white for an enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. You can pay 2 mana and put a divinity counter on a creature you control of the chosen type. Creatures you control with the divinity counter on them are indestructible. First we got phasing and now divinity counters. What is Commander 2017 Throwback Thursday? Unreal. So you're going to want a deck with the Myojin and that which was taken. Probably a spirits deck. You'll just make everything in the world indestructible. Let's be honest, Atrox is the perfect commander for a deck like this. 4-color Myojin, hilarious. Now, beyond that, this is simply a good card. As long as the enchantment survives, 2 mana to make each creature indestructible isn't a bad deal. After a turn or two, your most important creatures will be coated in a layer of destruction protection. And in Commander, we all know how important that is. Relatively cheap activation on a decently costed card. I enjoy it, quite a bit in fact. Galecaster Colossus is 5 of anything and 2 blue for a 5/6 giant wizard. Tap an untapped wizard you control to return target non-land permanent you don't control to its owner's hand. No wonder this giant is so darn expensive, it's oppressive as all heck. Talk about a wizard card that's going to make everyone at the table angry beyond reason. Players hate Unsummon. They especially hate it when it can target permanents beyond just creatures. Galecaster Colossus is going to take a lot to play, but once you do, you can Cyclonic Rift to your heart's content. What a ridiculously unfun card for anyone playing against wizards. Jeez, this is brutality on a stick. Keiru Mind-Eater is 3 mana for a 1/3 vampire with menace. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, that player exiles a card from their hand face down. You may look at and play cards exiled with the Mind-Eater. I'm kind of torn with this card. I like the ability and it's a good way to get cards out of your opponent's hand, but the problem is that they get to choose what to exile. The word random doesn't show up on the card and you don't get to decide what is exiled. Of course, taking basically anything is better than nothing, but still, you have to imagine they're always going to give you their worst card. I think the shining light behind a card like this is that you get to play lands that your opponents give you. It lets you play any card, so you're all good. I think that alone saves it, because when your opponent inevitably gives you land, at least you get something out of it. Kindred Dominance is 5 of anything and 2 black for a sorcery. Choose a creature type, destroy all creatures that are not the chosen type. Well, this is real expensive, not you board wipe. The increased cost is because your entire board is going to survive and probably no one else's. There is value in that, but heavens to Betsy, this is expensive. 7 mana is a lot for a sorcery, even of this magnitude. We're talking about a format where creature isn't really the only type of permanent doing things. Could be useful in a black tribal deck where you really want to make sure everything dies at every stage of the game, but it's a bit too expensive for what I'd like. Patron of the Vein is 4 of anything and 2 black for a 4/4 vampire shaman with flying. When it enters the battlefield, destroy target creature an opponent controls. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, exile it and put a +1/+1 counter on each vampire you control. Patron of the Vein, what a name by the way. Anyways, the card has legit playability in a vampire tribal deck. The best part about this card is that last trigger. You get to exile your opponent's creatures when they die, and you get to anthem your entire team. Even without giving a +1/+1 to all vampires you control, that trigger has serious value. Exiling is a big deal in Commander. More and more strategies are using the graveyard, so being able to cut that off as a resource, more important than you might think, and this comes down and destroys/exile something right away. Count me in, this is a solid vampire. Vindictive Lich is 4 mana for a 4/1 zombie wizard. When it dies, choose 1 or more. Each mode must target a different player. Target opponent sacrifices a creature. Target opponent discards 2 cards. Target opponent loses 5 life. Well, hello there, Mr. Grumpy Pants. Someone's real angry, they just die. Talk about a lot of value. You edict 1 player, Mind Rot another, and Lava X a third. In a 4-player game, this Lich comes with a disturbing amount of death value. And at 4/1, you know it's going to die quickly and probably take something down with it. Great design. It's a zombie in addition to being a wizard, so there's another card for that deck. Man, I would put this in a non-tribal strategy in the blink of an eye. This is so good. Inalla Archmage Ritualist is 2 of anything, 1 blue, 1 black, and 1 red for a 4/5 legendary creature human wizard with eminence. Whenever another non-token wizard enters the battlefield under your control, if Inalla is in the command zone or on the battlefield, you may pay 1. If you do, create a token that's a copy of that wizard. That token gains haste, exile it at the beginning of the next end step. You can also tap 5 untapped wizards you control and target player loses 7 life. Inalla, what the heck? Are you serious? That eminence ability is hilariously absurd. Whenever a non-token wizard enters the battlefield under your control, you just have to pay 1 to get a copy for a turn. The absolute most hysterical thing about this card is that there's a combo going around online that already breaks it in half. Check this out. Inalla is your commander, and you have an Ashnod's Altar. Play Bloodline Necromancer, you get the Eminence trigger, sack the original Necromancer to Ashnod's Altar, Eminence resolves, getting back your real Bloodline Necromancer, which then triggers Eminence again. You already have 2 mana floating, pay 1, copy it, sack the original in response to Eminence again. You can keep doing this forever, creating infinite Bloodline Necromancers with haste. Then you just destroy everyone in sight, game over. I love wizards so much. I'm not done with Inalla yet. Beyond that combo, you can do simple things like Sower of Temptation 2 creatures, or Master of Waves for 1,000,000 elemental tokens. Or you can do the simplest thing of all, Trophy Mage, Trinket Mage, Treasure Mage, use copies to get legit all the artifacts you could ever need. These are just some base examples. There are many more, but Inalla is powerful to say the least, and that Eminence ability is wow. Mairsil the Pretender, great name, is 1 of anything, 1 blue, 1 black, and 1 red for a 4/4 legendary creature human wizard. When Mairsil enters the battlefield, you may exile an artifact or creature card from your hand or graveyard and put a cage counter on it. Mairsil has all the activated abilities of all cards you own in exile with cage counters on them. You may activate each of those abilities only once each turn. Mairsil, the guy who wrecked Ith, like Maze of Ith? Of course, that story has a very different ending I won't spoil for you, but Mairsil goes way back. Now, cage counters, this is something I can get behind. You get to exile a real expensive artifact or creature from your hand or graveyard, and now you just have those activated abilities. That's gross. This can be a walking hell vault if you want, or a planar bridge. Funnily enough, if you need the extra mana, this can ramp you with Gilded Lotus. Having activated abilities of anything you exile is great stuff. These are just a few examples, but think about the plethora of creatures and artifacts with powerful activated abilities. And it's not like this cage exiling goes away when Mairsil leaves the battlefield. So when he comes back, you get even more caged cards and more options. Gross, so gross. So much wizard goodness, so much Commander 2017 goodness. How are you all feeling? Is this the kind of power you expected from the wizards of the tribe? Is there something more that you wanted? Which tribe are you most excited for now that we know the legendaries in each deck? I gotta know what you're thinking. So be sure to leave your thoughts below and we'll talk about it. And as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you next time. This video is brought to you in part by TCGplayer.com. The jig is officially up. Commander 2017 is a huge hit. There's no way around it, but there are still a few set of 4 pre-orders on TCG Player for Commander 2017 at $130. That is more expensive than the $120 it was a day ago, but the set's looking insane and the price is changing because of that. I have no idea where it's going to be by the time this video releases, but here's hoping you can get your pre-orders on before another price spike. Just click the link on the screen, helps the channel, we all win, enjoy.
What?